Welcome back to Footballology. So this is my time of year where I get to kind of make a little couple of people mad, maybe pick up some new subscribers, whatever the case may be. I'm not gonna do anything big and flashy. I'm gonna try to run down these picks real quick. It's gonna be a two-parter, obviously, because we ain't got time for doing all 32 in one video, and I ain't trying to waste your time. So right off the bat, it's gonna get wild and wacky. I'm not trying to make anybody mad on purpose, I promise you. But I'm going Jordan Davis here. Looking at their roster, I think it can definitely help out a guy like K'Lavon Chasen and Josh Allen, getting a good run defender slash interior pass rusher in Jordan Davis. And in my opinion, he after what he proved at or what he did at the combine, I think he showed that he's probably one of the better prospects in this class. Aiden Hutchinson is an option too, but I think Aiden Hutchinson plays more to the outside, and that's why we will go Davis over Hutchinson in this case. And then offensively, they're not missing a lot, and they can easily address a lot of their things. Now I know a lot of people like Evan Neal here, or even Icky, but the reason why you don't go those guys is because Cam Robinson signed his tender, and that really confused me a little bit. And they got Jawan Taylor at the other tackle position, so it was just like, yeah. And so I was kind of confused, but maybe Jacksonville trades down. I like that better because they're not a team that's hurting for a lot. In my personal opinion, they have a really talented roster, so that's why I went that route. Oh, with Jordan Davis. Don't kill me for that. It's only gonna get worse. Trust me, it's only getting worse. First, and then I got Aiden Hutchinson going to the Detroit Lions once again. That's probably one of those no-brainer picks. Go ahead, do the damn thing. Aiden Hutchinson becomes a Detroit Lion, stays in the state of Michigan. I think that uh, he's kind of going to fit what Dan Campbell wants to do. Dan Campbell, I've been taking, like when I was doing research on that, I took that to heart, what Dan Campbell said during his press conference when he first got there. I think he really wants to be a hard-nosed team. I think he genuinely wants to be able to run the ball. He genuinely wants to be one of those teams that you just, if you see him in the playoffs, you're like, damn it, like that's gonna be a tough out. Like we're gonna get beat up a little bit. Like almost the equivalent of like late Steelers. Like I'm not saying they're gonna be the Steelers, but I think that's what the route they really want to go. And Hutchinson's that guy that really fits that mold. Moving on to number 3 at the Houston Texans. Houston Texans are a really competitive team. Last year, if you go watch them, their offense was inconsistent at times, and that's what hurt them the most. But that defense with Lovie Smith there, and I'm so happy he has an opportunity to be head coach again because I really like him. I think he's a really solid defensive-minded guy. And with him being there, I think that this defense is going to be even more competitive, even more dangerous. They're going to try to find some continuity and consistency on offense, and I think that's going to be the most important to their success. With all that being said, I think Sauce Gardner is the best pick for them. Let that defense get even better and better with that front seven being the way it is, and I think that Lovey's scheme is going to allow that front seven to be really aggressive and attack more. Having a guy like Sauce Gardner on the back end to take advantage of some of those arid balls is going to be really dangerous, in my personal opinion. Moving on to number 4, the New York Jets. When I was going over the Jets rosters, the Jets have a really strong roster as well. Same thing with Lovie Smith and Robert Salas. Like they had their defense competitive. Their defense was consistently competitive. Maybe not, they didn't have a lot of names, but they were consistently competitive, and I like that. Evan Neal's definitely going here. I think at this point, Evan Neal makes the most sense. Try to protect Zach Wilson if he's your franchise guy. I know they got Mekhi Becton, but Mekhi Becton hasn't been healthy since he came into the league. This gives you an opportunity to move Mekhi to the right tackle position, solidify your left tackle position with Evan Neal, and move forward from there. And I think that's going to change the game, in my opinion, personally. Then we got the New York Giants at number 5. Now, once again, we're just going to see a run on our tackles. It's a no-brainer. I think is it Brian Daboll? Yeah, Brian Daboll being there. He got spoiled with Josh Allen. He has the big quarterback. He had the big quarterback with the big arm, with all the athleticism, and I think that's why he's leaning into Daniel Jones a little bit more. And the reason why he's leaning into Daniel Jones is because of the athleticism. He wants that athleticism. Granted, he doesn't have the same arm, but let's try to protect our quarterback. Let's try to protect our asset. In worst case scenario, I heard something. I was watching something last night, and the guy made a good point. He said, even if Daniel Jones isn't your guy, let's start to try to build something up front to allow whoever the next guy is going to be to have some opportunity to have success. So getting Icky there makes sense. This is interchangeable realistically. It just depends on your flavor of the month or whatever you're feeling, whatever you're in the mood for at the time. But I definitely like these tackles going back to back at 4 and 5. Moving to number 6. Now, number 6 is about to get wacky. It's going to get real wacky. If you're a Carolina Panther fan, you probably don't want to watch this. I'm just going to be honest with you straight up front. You probably don't want to see this. You guys are definitely taking a quarterback here, and it's not the quarterback you think it's going to be. It's going to be Desmond Ridder. You guys are getting Desmond Ritter solely because Desmond Ritter gives you the opportunity to be more consistent and stop being so up and down on offense. Sam Darnold is not the answer. We all know that. I think we all can agree upon that. Malik Willis has upside and potential, but nah. I get Desmond Ritter because Desmond Ritter can come in and compete for a starting job today, realistically. And I think that's rich for him. It's really, really rich for him. I think it's rich for any of these quarterbacks, in my opinion. But I think that if I need a guy that's going to be competing day one, Ritter's going to be that guy. He's just going to be a clean, consistent quarterback. He's not going to be too high. He's not going to be too low. He's going to give you exactly what you need, especially at the most important position on the field. You got to have that quarterback that's going to keep everything even kill. And he has so many weapons around him that he's going to create. He's going to have success because of those weapons around him, which is going to allow him to develop his skill and be more successful later on down the road. I didn't know where I was trying to go with that, but I like Ritter at number 6. I like Ritter as a Panther in general, just because of that level of consistency, and that's just my personal opinion. Like I said, if you're a Panthers fan, you watch that, I'm sorry. I know you probably want Malik Willis or somebody else, but Ritter's going to be the guy that's going to keep the ship steady, and that's what you really need. Moving on to number 7, now we got the Giants back on the clock. We already took care of our offense line. I think we go check care of our defense line. Thibodeau. You get Kayvon here. I know he has like some attitude, question marks, whatever the case may be. I don't care. Dude's a baller. He can play ball, and the New York Giants need ballers. Realistically, at the end of the day, they need guys that can come in and take care of business today at their second right now. And Kayvon's that guy. And granted, you might have some ups and down days or whatever the case, but you need that pass rush. You're in the East. You got to see Dak and the boys, and they're trying to be pass happy team. You need to try to get after the quarterback, and that offensive line is getting banged over in Dallas. So yeah, let's make that happen. Let's make that happen. Kayvon to the Giants, I think at number 7 makes the most sense. Just keeping it straightforward and simple. Moving on to number 8, we got the Atlanta Falcons. Now this pick is so frustrating. It's so frustrating. It's about 3 picks in this first part of this mock draft that just allocated so much of my time. There was some no-brainer picks. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Click, go, and move on to the next one. This one, the Washington Commanders, and there's one other one. I want to say like the Baltimore Ravens, possibly. I kind of switched up a little bit, but definitely the Falcons and the Commanders. They allocated so much of my time, and I still don't like the picks I made there. Some of Mike decided to cut out. Sorry about that. But anyways, we're moving on to number 8 with the Atlanta Falcons. With the Atlanta Falcons, we got so many different ways we can go here. Last year they went Kyle Pitts, and I told them not to go Kyle Pitts. And it made me so mad. Everybody, oh, they went Kyle Pitts. Now look at you. Now look, you're still in the top 10. Didn't help you. Not saying that you would have went somewhere else, or if you, like how I had him going Patrick Sertan, that would have made you a better team, or you would have been picking in the teams instead of the top 10. But, whatever. You got Kyle Pitts. It's in the past. Let's move forward. I got them getting Kyle Hamilton here because I want to start to solidify this defense. This defense has been a laughing stock of the league for like the last 3 seasons, 2-3 seasons. It's been a joke. We got to start doing something. Granted, you don't need another receiver. You don't need a quarterback. I was doing my research and I realized Felipe Franks were on the roster, and that's when this made sense to me. Treylon Burks to the Falcons. That was when I was like, maybe Treylon Burks, because Felipe Franks and Treylon Burks got a pass, and we've seen this happen last year, and maybe that's a trend that people start to follow. Would likely happen with Burrow and Chase, but Burks and Franks did do something, and maybe if they lean into Franks, maybe that could be a thing. And if you want Burks, then all for it. That's cool. Top 10 is kind of rich for me for Burks, so let's trade back, and then you get Burks, and then you create more capital with the pick. I like trading back. I'm just the guy that if I ain't in love with you, I'm gonna trade back and try to get you at a lower value, so then I can get some more picks on the back end that can really help my roster. But moving on to the Seahawks, now this pick ate me alive. This is one of those picks that ate me alive. There's so many picks that ate me alive, and this is one of them. I don't like it. I'm not in love with it, but I'm going Charles Cross. They need tackle help. They need help offensively in general, and they created a lot of their voids on their own by getting rid of Russ and Bobby. Devin Lloyd can be definitely a possibility there, but they got Jalen Brooks there. I think it's Jalen Brooks, right? They got him there. N'Kobe Dean could be a possibility. Devin Lloyd, like I said, they can definitely try to get some linebacker action there. Maybe that's a possibility. I don't know. It's too many question marks on that roster. I went with the safest pick, in my personal opinion. That was Charles Cross. Um, and it's not even that safe, to be honest with you, but they need offensive line help, and maybe Cross can come in and really start to solidify and really help out that offensive line. But I believe in John Snyder. I think realistically, I don't think he picks that. I think he winds up trading back because that makes more sense than anything, in my opinion. And John's going to do the right thing. If there's a quarterback that's still sitting there and some team wants to come up and get him, I think John trades back, creates more value for the pick, and then later on gets his guy. Moving on to number 10 with the New York Jets. Now, we already got Evan Neal, and I like Evan Neal there. I think that's a really solid pick and a clean pick for them. I did go defensively, and I went corner. Like I said, their front seven, I have faith in their front seven. Robert Salas is going to get their front seven strong. Going to have him right. McDuffie, I don't know if he fits what Salas wants to do. Stingley's coming off an injury, so that kind of made me weary of him. I went Elam, and I know that's a stretch for him. That's really like these last two picks plus Ritter. These are guys that are really rich in these positions, but I feel like Elam is a guy that's going to probably suit Salah's defense a little bit more with his length and speed, and that's just going to allow them to do a little bit more defensively. Get a guy on the back end. Do I think he's the second best corner in the draft class? Probably not. It probably is Duffy or Stingley for sure, but I think Elam just gives you a little bit more system-based guy, and that's going to have a little bit more success, and it's going to allow Salas to do a little bit more things defensively. And like I said, he's going to have his front seven competitive regardless of anything. Moving on to number 11. Now, this Commanders pick can go die, and I don't mean to be mad like mean, but this Commanders pick destroyed me from within. I did not know what the hell I was doing here, and if you're a Commanders fan, I'm sorry, but you're going to get a center because I think that you guys got to start solidifying your offensive line. Defensively, you guys are solid. I definitely like the idea of going to safety here, but I wasn't in love with any of the safeties for you guys at this pick. I was checking my notes, sorry, but I wasn't in love with any of the safeties here for you guys because they're box safeties. And Cameron Crowell's not technically a box safety, but if you look at some of the remaining safeties, like Brisker, he's not going to do much for you. Cook is a box guy. Dax Hill could possibly be a thing here too. But I think Dax Hill is more of a tweener, so that kind of hurts you there too. Nick Cross is a guy that, once again, is probably closer towards the box safety. Lewis Seen could possibly be a thing here too as well. I wouldn't be so Lewis Seen could definitely be a strong one, but I think that's something that the Washington Commanders want to try to do is really focus in on that run game and be a little bit more of a downhill roster and get a guy like Tyler Linderbaum. I think I said his name right. You get a guy like him in there, and that can really start to solidify the interior of this offensive line. That was, once again, just those picks. It didn't sit right with my soul. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. I'm not trying to get any sympathy. I'm just telling you, like, I was thinking maybe Penning, just kind of start to really kind of up the run game. That could be a possibility, but I don't know. Well, you got Tyler. So moving on to the Minnesota Vikings. We got the Vikings on the board now. With the Minnesota Vikings, we got Derek Stingley. I think Derek Stingley, this is one of those kind of no-brainer picks. LSU boy, Pat P is still there. It's going to allow everything to kind of start to fall in the fold. It's a need. It addresses a need, but then at the same time, I think that mentorship of Patrick Peterson we've seen being very successful, especially with former LSU DBs. So get a guy like Stingley in there, really start to find your CB2. Devin Lloyd was another option here too. Try to replace Anthony Barr with Lloyd, or even Kobe Dean to really try to solidify your linebacker or upgrade your linebacker position. Offensive line wise, I'm pretty chill there. Running backs, you don't need anything there. Wide receivers, you didn't need anything there. So the best thing for me at this point was Stingley. I think Stingley, even though he'll come off that injury, this is going to be a good situation for him and for the team. Moving on to the Houston Texans at number 13. This one was a really fun pick now because I think once again we're going to double down on defense. We're going to get Trayvon Walker. Now this is going to add some athleticism and some size up front, and it's going to make this defense even more dangerous, more competitive. And the reason why I'm going so heavy defensively is because I think that they're going to try to add some talent to this defense. Offensively, you got Cooks, you got Nico Collins, you got now the running back position is definitely a thing you could address here, but it's kind of rich. It's really like I'm not going wild crazy, but I think it's kind of rich for any running back here. And Breece Hall is definitely going to be the guy. But there's some decent late round running backs where I feel like you could try to address your running back situation there. But offensive line wise, I like the way their offensive line is built right now, and I think they got a lot of good athletes or a lot of good players on their offensive line that can be competitive. So that's why I just felt comfortable going more heavier on the defensive side of the ball, getting a guy like Walker Walker and Gardner. Whew, it's going to take this defense to the next level. Moving on to the Baltimore Ravens, this was an interesting one too. The Ravens needed a lot of help. Once again, we got the box safety situation. I think they need a playmaker, plus a guy that can give you a little bit more in a coverage situation. So if you want to play some nickel and dime, and they got banged up in the secondary last year, and it showed. Getting a guy like Dax Hill really gives you that position flexibility for the Baltimore Ravens, and that's something that I think they truly, truly, truly want and need. Plus, this was funny while I was doing my research, realized that Dax Hill's old defensive coordinator is now the Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator. So do with that what you will. I just think that he's going to get the best out of Dax Hill, and we're going to, from there. Moving on to 15, we got the Philadelphia Eagles taking Devin Lloyd. Now, with this pick, I think this is a really clean pick for them. I think they need to start to try to solidify something in the middle of that defense. Their linebacker position has always been a question mark for me, and it's still a big question mark. Now, corner could definitely be a thing here, so Trent McDuffie could definitely probably be a thing that they can try to go for, or even like a Kyler Gordon. They need some size or something on the outside. All they got is, in my opinion, after looking at their roster, now they got my boy Mac McCain. I put a video out about Mac McCain. I still feel confident in Mac McCain, but realistically, when you look at their roster, the biggest playmaker, the best threat they got in the secondary is Darius Slay. You got to get a guy in the secondary, so that could possibly be a thing here too. But I feel like getting a guy like Devin Lloyd can definitely solidify the interior of that defense. Also adding some size and some length that they're kind of, in my opinion, lacking in the middle of that defense. Moving on to number 16, we got the New Orleans Saints. Now, this is going to be the end of the first round, or the first part of this mock draft. And we got the Saints. Now, the Saints are a good team. They're a good, solid roster. Granted, their cap situation is bonkers, and that tells me that you're just drafting really well, because a lot of the guys that they're paying are homegrown guys. These are not free agents that they're bringing in or anything like crazy like that. These are guys that they've drafted and they just panned out really well. And they're gonna draft another beast here in Quay Walker. Now, the reason I'm passing over Nakobe Dean hasn't done much this offseason to really solidify himself as that number one linebacker. Devin Lloyd, I think, had a really strong combine, and plus his last season there, Utah, ridiculous. So that's why I took Lloyd there. Quay Walker has some athleticism upside, and that's going to add something to the middle of this defense. Granted, they got Demario Davis there, who I think is a baller that doesn't get enough credit, but I think this is going to be something special for the New Orleans Saints and allow them to move forward with this roster and really give them the best chance to have success. And they got to start getting younger defensively anyways. Like, they got to figure out some things. So maybe they trade back. I don't know. It wasn't a hard pick, because offensively, I think we already know what they're going to be. But defensively, especially with Dennis Allen taking over there, I think that we got to start trying to find a new identity now before we lose our old identity. Safety definitely was a thing too, to try to replace Marcus Williams, so that could have been up there too. But looking at everything realistically, I think Quay Walker gives them something that could possibly turn into something more special. So we'll see what happens there. But that's all I have for you guys in the first part of this mock draft. I really hope you like it. If you do, give it a thumbs up. I'm so happy that YouTube took away the dislike button, because your boy probably got a shit ton of dislikes on this one. But if you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. And if you're not a footballologist yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button today, become a footballologist, and stay safe, football fans.